Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this talk show. The Asian Economic Community and ASEAN Free Trade Area will be implemented at the end of 2015. The vision of integrating ASEAN countries into one community has come a long way since its inception in 1967. Regardless of the differences in cultures and political system, ASEAN countries is emerging and evolving as one community. And this is because the ASEAN way has been successful to bridge all the differences. ASEAN way is a concept worth explored and understood in order to further strengthen the Asian community. We are fortunate to have Professor Luhulima with us today to enlighten us about ASEAN, the ASEAN way, and how these principles unite and bring the ASEAN countries forward to this age. Prof. Luhulima is one of not too many Indonesian experts in ASEAN. He has been involved in many Asian development activities and research on ASEAN issues as a professor at the Indonesian Institute of Sciences and University of Indonesia. He used to be a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He was once a member of the Board of Advisors for the Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and members of the Eminent Persons Group ASEAN 2020. Good morning, Pak Luhulima. Very nice to have you today.
Thank you.
How are you?
Just fine.
I would like to start with the history of ASEAN. I wonder why the founding fathers of ASEAN agreed on a shared vision of establishing ASEAN.
Well, actually, let me start with saying that ASEAN was established to overcome the various impediments in the region, intra-regional strife, the fear of smaller countries or bigger countries, and particularly also to overcome the ethnic and racial sentiments at the time. So it was, ASEAN can be explained as an exercise in confidence building and preventive diplomacy. I think that's the initial start of the thinking on ASEAN.
Mm-hmm. What about the process? Does it run well? Does it smooth?
Well, it was actually, as I said, set up to manage a regional order, and it did run well, various impediments, but the founding fathers found out that the best thing for the Southeast Asian countries to do is to work together towards a better future for themselves and for the people in the areas in Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm. What is the stumbling block that you in your experience that kind of like hinder the development?
Stumbling blocks are mostly national sentiments and a fear of the smaller states towards the bigger ones. So also of interference in the domestic affairs of member countries. Those are the three things that mostly cause the tensions among the first ASEAN founding members.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And well, it's true that all these ASEAN countries has many differences actually. Mm-hmm. I mean, in terms of their political systems and perhaps social backgrounds. But I heard about the ASEAN way, which is very successful to kind of like eliminate or minimize these differences, and is successful to help building this ASEAN community. What is ASEAN way actually?
Well, the basic principle of ASEAN way is actually respect towards one another, recognizing national sovereignty of each country, not to interfere in the domestic problems. And if there are, let me say, possibilities of a dispute coming up, to try to overcome it in a peaceful way, and as far as possible, not let it go into or not become a conflict among them.
Okay. Could you give us like explicit examples how the principles of ASEAN Way is being implemented?
Well, an example is, for instance, that you look at Indonesia with the problem of Malaysia on the Ligitan Sipadan area. According to the ASEAN Way, it has to be solved within the ASEAN context, first bilaterally, and then try in the ASEAN context. And when it did not work out, they agreed to send it to an international court of justice in The Hague. And whoever wins from the outcome of the session in the International Court of Justice in The Hague will have to accept the verdict of that court. So there will be no conflicts actually after decision has been made on the issue.
Okay. And one of the principles of ASEAN Way is non-interference in internal affairs of other country. How can you elaborate that, and could you give example for that?
Yeah, the principle is very clear, non-interference. But in practice, it happens. Interference happens once in a while, like in the Cambodia problem when Vietnam invaded Cambodia. We have interfered actually also in Myanmar, tried to improve the situation in Myanmar on the way to become an ASEAN member. And let me say it's very difficult, like the haze problem of Indonesia also has a bad impact on Singapore, Malaysia and Brunei. And of course, these three countries immediately accused Indonesia of not taking care of the haze in their own country. But everything has been actually discussed and negotiated in order to avoid one thing, not fight one another about problems which concerns all of us.
Okay. So actually, I would say that there are like good interference and bad interference. In this case, it's not interference probably, but it's kind of like trying to finding ways for the conflicting countries or something like that.
Yeah, it is an interference, but then if you have a regional organization and a good neighborhood policies or good neighbor policies has been implemented or has become a practice, you always try to remind other members also if their activities may have a bad impact actually on the neighboring countries, in order that they improve on the situation so that it does not become further a nuisance to the member countries.
Okay. Yeah, Pak Luhulima, one of the principles of Asian Way is effective cooperation. And what cooperation, what has been done, I mean, in the Asian, by Asian countries in this area?
Well, effective cooperation actually covers the whole range of cooperative activities in the various fields like politics, economics, culture, and the three big clusters of cooperation. And in the beginning, it was very difficult actually to have a political cooperation, and ASEAN, the founding fathers, started with economic cooperation. But later on, they have developed also a good understanding in way of political cooperation. There is one important aspect actually of the whole thing. In the beginning, ASEAN members cooperate with one another on the basis of the lowest common denominator. What can be accepted by all members of ASEAN to work from in order to increase cooperation in a particular field of cooperation. That was how ASEAN started, actually. Well, since the 1990s, there was a shift in that attitude. ASEAN started to change the method by posing target dates to achieve cooperation by year so and so. And a good example is actually the ASEAN communities. In 2003, it was decided that ASEAN communities should be achieved by the year 2020. And in Cebu in 2007, the target date was advanced to 2015, so that means the year we are in now. And working with target dates actually neutralizes the concept of lowest common denominator. So it is you work towards a target and you have to achieve that target by the year or by the time it was set. And this is what we are in now with our ASEAN community of 2020. So by the 31st of December 2015, we'll have to move or start moving into the ASEAN community build-up.
Prof. Luhulima, I just wonder how our founding fathers come up with ASEAN Way. Is it something developed from indigenous values? What do you think?
No, it actually started, as I said before, of the various regional, of the strife of the member countries in the region, and to reduce the level of strife towards developing a cooperative relationship among the member countries. And in that process, they started simultaneously a confidence building process, and that confidence building process has been based on the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator that can be accepted by every member countries to start from to increase the levels of cooperation in particular fields of activities which they have agreed on. So that's the way the whole thing started.
And then?
What's the next question?
Okay, yeah, this, okay. And you mentioned about confidence building, ASEAN as exercise of confidence building. What does actually it mean?
Yeah, it means that we build confidence with one another. We try to build up trusting one another. And in that process, we try to tighten the cooperation on the regional level. And that's the way we try to develop it towards the next stages of our cooperation activities.
Okay, and this is another question. I would like to move to a different direction. That now ASEAN Economic Community will be implemented in 2015. And some people, it's a kind of like a mixed setup with the concept of ASEAN Free Trade Area.
Yeah.
Are they similar?
Now, in the ASEAN context, actually an ASEAN Free Trade Area is the lower part moving towards the ASEAN Economic Community. In the ASEAN Economic Community, the immediate objectives are actually single market. So ASEAN to become a single market. With the ASEAN Free Trade Area, the ASEAN is to become an area where trade among members is done actually with minimizing as much as possible the trade impediments and to reach only 0 to 5% of tariffs. So that is the difference. Now, starting in 2015 or at the end of 2015, we have to move towards making ASEAN a single market and a single production base. So that is tightening up integration of economic activities in ASEAN.
Okay. For the Asian Economic Community, in your opinion, are all the Asian countries ready for it?
No, it's still very difficult to do. That's why the whole exercise started only, actually it should have started on the 1st of January 2015, but because of various circumstances, member countries have postponed it to start at the 31st of January 2015, so effectively on the 1st of January 2016. And they have to start with the lowering of tariff rates has already begun since the creation of the ASEAN Free Trade Area in 1992. So the next steps are, of course, to make a single market and to simultaneously develop ASEAN as a single production base according to 12 priority sectors that has already been set.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting because it's already in front of our doors, but we are still thinking how to how to prepare ourselves well.
Yeah, that's right. We are we have been talking about it actually, or we have decided to implement the ASEAN community in 2003. We are now in the year of 2015. So we start only now, 12 years after we first proclaimed the whole idea. So it will still take a long time or some time to be able to move on the way of creating an ASEAN communities in the three sectors, political and security sector, the economic sector, and the